and it is to some extent recognizable in the New Testament, but it was not apparent in the Hebrew lore of the Old Testament, wherein Satans are seen to perform specific duties of mundane opposition. So, from what original concept or Bible entry was the modern Christian image of Satan born? Welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening. Alrighty, what is going on, Library of Awakening family? Welcome back to another afternoon episode. So glad to have you guys back on the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at some other information that is readily available within inside the private CyberX community in the form of documented research on the topics of artificial intelligence, autonomous driving vehicles. We're going to dive into it all in today's episode. So if you enjoy, do us that favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We do appreciate the love and the support. Once we get through some of the posts here today, then we'll finish it off with a read from our conspiracy section inside the Library of Awakening within the private CyberX Discord. So hopefully you guys enjoy this lengthy call today. Starting off here, in light of the ongoing 56th annual World Economic Forum Davos event taking place right now in Switzerland, we have Klaus Schwab issuing a new message just one day before the World Economic Forum event beginning, warning that society is facing a collapse of truth and trust. We might not be able to finish that because I just noticed that there's music playing in the background and I don't want to get a copyright strike. So we're going to pause it there. Nonetheless, crazy intro to what's happening right now around the world. What I paid attention to is the crazy looking books that he's sitting in front of. Look at how ancient some of these books look. I mean, some of these books look like old, huge Bibles. I mean, you can't see any of the names on the bindings of the books, but very interesting to say the least. Now, that leads me over here before we dive into the conspiracy section in the CyberX Discord and pick a book at random to read today. Over on the Library of Awakening X profile, we have a lot of conspiracy theory X channels that post videos like this one, for example. So it's, talking about all the catastrophes all around the world, but then sharing the documents on smart city developments, right? Which is just crazy. So I'm not going to play the audio for this particular video because, again, there's music playing in the background and I don't want to get banned for copyright infringement. But this stuff is 110% real. So inside the private CyberX Discord, we have hundreds of documents on all of this type of research. So I said here in this post, people will say that it is a conspiracy theory, smart cities. CyberX Research has all the documents and Library of Awake will read them to you guys. So check this out. These are just some of the documents. For example, this document right here from Conzo Technopolis, the role of digital economies in smart cities, opportunities and challenges, says some industries and workers fear job displacement due to automation and AI adoption. Lack of digital literacy prevents many individuals from benefiting from digital economies. Governments and businesses should invest in reskilling programs to prepare the workforce. The public awareness campaigns can encourage a positive attitude towards digital transformation. And so this is just one of the many documents. For example, if you come over here inside the private CyberX Discord as a monthly member, you guys have access to the entire CyberX research section. You just go into the Discord and type in smart cities and you type in one of our researchers' names, and he has shared hundreds of documents on smart city developments all across the globe, not in just one jurisdiction either. Literally from the likes of Africa, the United States, Mexico, Australia, Abu Dhabi, the Middle East, all over. Like, it is an insane amount of research in here that just goes to show that this is not some conspiracy, and it is 110% taking shape right now as we speak. So I just thought that I'd introduce this type of research to you guys here at the Library of Awakening, because it's not just books that we have access to. It is research papers from some of the largest organizations in this space. Look at this Seoul Smart City. We have the Smart City Dallas roadmap for any individuals in Texas. Now, coming back over to the Library of Awakening X profile, someone was out driving just the other day and posted this video clip of an autonomous driving vehicle. Here you can see that clip of this live action self autonomous driving vehicle that I reposted on Library of Awakening, where I said they have been prepping us with programming for years in the movies. Self driving cars are now 110% a thing. This one recently seen in America. Are self driving cars in your area now? I wonder. Comment down below if you've seen them driving around your city. And if not, they will be. And they will put so many Uber drivers out of work by 2035. People will gladly use them because they are cool, new, and convenient. Take a second and just watch this clip. Crazy work. Growing up and hearing about self-driving vehicles, you would have never thought to actually see this type of stuff, and that is now the reality that we're living through. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys this is because again, you go back and you watch the movies, and I'm sure that it's going to cover this type of information in one of the books that we choose today inside the CyberX Library of Awakening section when we jump into the conspiracy section. But I posted a little tiny clip of the movie called Upgrade. So this is a post that is from Action Cinema, and this is from the 2018 movie called Upgrade. And it's a car crash scene where the autonomous driving vehicle takes full control and crashes the two people with inside the driving vehicle. They literally tell us things in the movies before they happen. So I thought that that fit the role today to play for you guys before we dive into the conspiracy section within the Library of Awakening portion of the CyberX Discord. Last post, considering that we started out with Klaus Schwab and there is the ongoing 56th annual World Economic Forum Davos event taking place right now as we're recording this. It's taking place this week. I believe it ends midweek. They released the Global Risks Report 2026, 21st edition. There is so much symbology in this report alone. Just on the cover, you have the Earth right about to fall off the face of a cliff. You have the sun setting in the west. You also have in the report, I'll go ahead and I'll read this. I said, the World Economic Forum's Global Risk Report 2026 is already sending a message before you even open it. The cover alone looks like something out of a dystopian sci fi film, a glowing Earth sitting on the edge of a cliff, world suspended over uncertainty. It's not accidental branding, it's symbolism. Then inside the report, they outline 33 global risks shaping the next decade. They could have chose any number that they wanted for this report, and they specifically covered 33 risks. Now, inside the report, I'm just going to read some of the highlights here. It says AI is the risk with the largest rise in ranking over time, moving from number 30 on the 2 year outlook to number 5 on the 10-year outlook. Then it says here AI and previously applied human skills begin to atrophy. It is unclear if the path forward will be a golden age for creativity, leisure, and learning, or conversely, a drift into purposelessness, apathy, and societal decay. In an extreme scenario, control over many aspects of society could be ceded to artificial intelligence. Third, with militaries' reliance on AI systems continuing to increase, the potential for misuse or mistake will rise to placing human lives directly at risk. Last but not least, it says AI could eliminate up to 50% of entry level white collar jobs within the next 5 years in the United States alone, potentially driving unemployment to 10 to 20%. Okay. I'm pretty sure that during the Great Depression, unemployment was at like 25%, if I'm not mistaken. I could be slightly off on that number. Yeah, during the Great Depression, the unemployment rose to around 25%. All right. So crazy stuff going on. And now back to the Library of Awakening. This is the last thing that I'll share with you guys. The reason why I started here and the reason why I'm covering artificial intelligence. Now, if we scroll up to this post, okay, I said here in this post showing you guys some documents from the Smart City documents. This is one where it talks about sustainable smart cities and mobility in Abu Dhabi from the World Future Energy Summit that took place at the end of 2025. And look at what it directly says in the report. Okay. The committee agreed that an integral part of the shared vision for smart cities is that they are flexible enough to integrate future technological advancements and changing behaviors of residents. One example discussed was the potential impact that fully autonomous vehicles may eventually have on city designs. When the day arrives where people can reliably hail a self driving taxi and then enjoy a quick, affordable, and convenient journey. And I already showed you guys that that is taking place right now. Right now, there's autonomous vehicles driving around America as we speak. So this stuff is not conspiratorial. The research is all there for you guys to do. If you need a safe place to find this research, you guys can always join us inside the private CyberX Discord. With that being said, let's dive into the elite agenda and global power section inside the Library of Awakening portion of the CyberX Discord. And let's just pick at random one of the books in this section. We'll scroll around here for a bit and just take a look briefly. There are some crazy books in this section that I'm super excited to dive into with you guys in the future. Beyond Freedom and Dignity, that one caught my interest because of the red dot there. Let's continue to go up. Powder Burns, the DEA, Drug Wars. Let's see what else we got. Pandemic 1918. That one looks pretty insane. The Survey of Worldwide Reports Landing of Unconventional Aerial Objects and Their Alleged Occupants. Interesting. The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. That one fits today's video. Let's continue to see what else we got. What's this one right here? Program to Kill, The Politics of Serial Murder. Okay. Catastrophe, an investigation into the origins of the modern world. Ooh, that one looks creepy. Transhumanism, the history of a dangerous idea. I don't know why, but the red in the skull caught my eye. I think we're going to pick this one. So let's jump into this book here. Again, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button and subscribe. We do appreciate the love and the support. Let's click this one open and let's read through chapter 1. We'll skip the introduction for the sake of the length of this video since we're already going on about 15 minutes. This is chapter 1, Transhumanism, the History of a Dangerous Idea by David Livingston. So let's scroll down here and let's go on to read this in detail. We'll take a look real quick at the table of contents. So we're going to be reading chapter 1, Magic and Mysteries. But wow, already off the bat, the Rosicrucians, the Age of Unreason, Survival of the Fittest, Occult Revival, the Round Table, Bloomsbury, interesting, Neoliberalism, A Brave New World. That actually looks like a very good chapter. And interestingly enough, that's chapter 13. Hail Disordia, Chaos Magic, The New Age. Okay, this book looks very, very interesting. So let's dive in. All right, let's go down, skip through the introduction. Boom, chapter 1, Magic and Mysticism. Starts out with the all-seeing eye. It is therefore no accident that the oh my goodness gracious, Nyatze Shays. I'm gonna have to, let's look this one up. It is therefore no accident that Nietzsche's idea of the Superman who affronts the bleak truth of nihilism and transcends the value of human society, becoming a god who makes himself into his own image, represents the grand ideal of the transhumanists. The transhumanism is a recent pseudoscientific movement currently gaining wide popularity, which perpetually aims at perfecting the physical and psychological nature of the human being, with an eventual aim of achieving immortality by merging man and machine. Wow, what a pick! This works perfectly. Simply put, transhumanism is the quest to use all the advances of modern science to augment human potential and ultimately to achieve immortality. These ideas had already been glamorized in Hollywood over the past few decades, as Stanley Kubrick's version of 2001 A Space Odyssey by author C. Clarke. Other movies following the transhumanist trends have been Blade Runner, following Flip K. Dick's Doe android's dream of electric sheep, The Matrix, the remake of RoboCop, and Avatar and Prometheus. In Limitless, Bradley Cooper plays a struggling author who achieves fame and success through the use of nootropic drugs, also known as smart drugs. And more recently, Her features Joaquin Phoenix's character falling in love with an AI computer. And in Transcendence, Johnny Depp in his mind is uploaded to a computer. Transhumanist themes have also surfaced in other media, such as the television series Ancients of the Stargates and SG-1, manga and the anime classics Akira and Ghost in the Shell, role-playing games like Rifts, and video games like Halo, Deus Ex, and BioShock series, where humans develop a technology which grants them seemingly magical powers, including telekinesis and superhuman strength. It is Lucy with femme de jour Scarlett Johansson that is most closely aligned with the premise of MK Ultra, that the use of mind-expanding drugs can help us expand our consciousness to assist us in the end goal of transhumanism. The source of the movie's title is explained as referring to Lucy, the name given to the fossil of the earliest human, who lived an estimated 3.2 million years ago. The insinuation is that Lucy will be like a new Eve, becoming the first transhuman. And there is one more clue associated with the choice of the movie's title. The name of Lucy was selected for the fossil inspired by the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from their 1967 Sgt. Pepper's album. Although John Lennon at first denied it in an interview with an Uncut magazine, Paul McCartney finally admitted that the song was really about LSD. The transhumanism is an extension of the dangerous belief in human perfectibility derived social Darwinism and eugenics, which flourished in the early 20th century under the sponsorship of the Rockefeller Foundation, before achieving notoriety through the horrors of the Nazi regime. After World War II, when these practices were imported into the United States, the study of what is known as cybernetics, which sought advanced methods of population control, evolved in two directions: the development of the personal computer and a covert CIA mind control project known as MK Ultra, which fostered the proliferation of psychedelic drugs in an effort to transform society following the blueprint of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. The very strange truth is that both these trajectories represented a combined mission inspired by the age old belief in magic and mysticism, referred to as the occult, adapted from Masonry and its popular manifestation, the New Age movement. Despite the veneer of scientific rationalism that transhumanism attempts to portray, it is an occult philosophy based on an interpretation of the story of the book of Genesis, where the devil promised that if Adam and Eve partook of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, they would become as gods. Their model is the ancient shaman of Central Asia who partook of the forbidden fruit that could make one wise, or psychoactive substances, which are now being termed as entheogens, that allowed them to communicate with the spirit world or gods. The combined significance is that computers are seen as the equal of the apple, the tree of knowledge, contributing to the creation of a collective consciousness by way of a global network of personal computers, or the internet, by which humanity becomes God, or the Masonic all seeing eye of the reserve side of the American dollar bill. The transhumanists view the attainment of such supreme artificial intelligence as heralding the advent of what they call the singularity. An important exponent of the idea is Ray Kurzweil, head of engineering at Google, under whose stewardship the company, which normally subscribes to the dictum of "don't do evil," has recently broadened the scope of its business to cover the gamut of transhumanist interests, including artificial intelligence and even longevity. The so called singularity, according to the transhumanists, will mark the moment when man will have evolved into a post human existence through mind uploading, having achieved immortality by being merged with the internet, being like to the new age concept of collective consciousness or a global brain. The schizophrenic's detachment from reality, and particularly symptoms such as auditory hallucinations, are understood by the modern psychiatric establishment as corresponding to the trance states attributed to the ancient mystics and their supposed communion with the divine. Roard Owen explained in Schizophrenia from Delivery to Disease for Res Medica, the Journal of the Royal Medical Society, that while such cases were once persecuted as forms of demonic possession, they are viewed today as a treatable mental condition. The symptoms ascribed to schizophrenia have been noted for thousands of years, including in ancient Egypt, Hindu culture, ancient Greece and China, Islamic civilization, and even the witches of Europe. Ultimately, transhumanism, like all modern occultism, is founded on an attempt to resurrect these traditions. As absurd as such an assertion might seem, that is precisely what the proponents of transhumanism hint at in their own publications, although they are far too circumspect to admit so openly, recognizing they will lose all credibility if they should. For example, Nick Bostrom, an Oxford professor, one of the leading exponents of transhumanism today, and founder of Humanity Plus, formerly the World Transhumanist Association, admits that the organization was founded to develop a more mature and academically respectable form of transhumanism, freed from the cultishness which, at least in the eyes of some critics, had afflicted some of its earlier convictions. Nevertheless, a history of transhumanist thought. Bostrom discusses the history of transhumanism by aligning it clearly with the great personalities and trends of occult history without exposing their connection to that tradition. Bostrom openly admits that transhumanism was found in alchemy and mysticism. The general consensus among scholars is to qualify mysticism as the pursuit of union with God. Historically, however, mysticism has been practiced outside of Orthodox religious tradition, typically among heretical orders, where their practices and understanding of the nature of God approximate those found in paganism. In contrast to Orthodox rational religious experiences, mysticism attempts to commune with spirits, or what are interpreted to be gods, and towards the performance of miracles or magic. As explained in the Encyclopedia Britannica's article on the topic, it has been recognized that there are two distinct types of religious experiences. The first, normally associated with the Orthodox religious traditions, derives from an apprehension of the sublimity of God and his attributes. This type of experience contrasts with mysticism normally associated with heterodox approaches to religious or the occult, which, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, it is the explicitly mystical sort of experience in which the aim is to pass beyond every form of articulation to attain unity with the divine. So while the first is purely rational, mysticism involves some type of sensory experience, and as such, mystical experiences derive from a mischaracterization of what constitutes the divine. Because God is a conscious non material entity, he is mistakenly assumed to be composed of spirit. In this way, an experience with inexplicable phenomena, despite the fact that they might have some scientific basis yet to be discovered, is mistakenly interpreted as partaking of the supernatural. Likewise, any conscious, non material entities such as spirits or demons are likewise assumed to be divine. Studies in neuroscience now confirm the psychological basis of this dichotomy. For example, Andrew Newberg director of the Center for Spirituality and the Mind at the University of Pennsylvania, discovered decreased brain activity during religious meditation among Buddhist monks and Catholic nuns. Both groups showed increased activation of both frontal lobes and decreased activity of the right parietal lobe at the point where the mediators reported reaching a state of total absorption and oneness. However, during other methods of religious experience, such as prayer or the reading of scripture, the results were the opposite. Neurologist Michael Spazio and Nina Azari's research concluded an increase in the right parietal lobe activity, as well as frontal lobe activity. Likewise, the use of psychedelic drugs can induce powerful psychological experiences that can be confused as partaking of the divine. Many who have experimented with psychedelics reported having profound and transformative experiences that have changed their lives for the better. This is very possible that there are a number of positive benefits that can be associated with their use. There are numerous substances in nature which are either curative or poisons, and sometimes both depending on the dosage. Drugs, however, are poisons that affect the mind. The enthusiasm with which they have been adopted by some as medicine is irresponsible. Rather, they may be characterized as in the Quran in 2:2129, which says antioxidants can be both good and bad, but the bad outweigh the good. So there is a couple more pages left. We're not going to be able to read about 6 pages, give or take, of the remaining portions of chapter 1 of David Livingston's Transhumanism, the history of a dangerous idea. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's read. If you did, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed to the platform before heading off. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next episode of Library of Awakening. I know some of the perspectives that I share may be as challenging for you as they once were for me. But isn't that the beauty of exploration? Every perspective, no matter how unconventional, has something valuable to contribute to it if it's shared. Knowledge is not absolute. It's a living, breathing phenomena, shaped and reshaped over time. The important thing is not always be right, but to always be curious. Explore freely, share boldly, and learn deeply. And don't rely solely on others to validate your discoveries. Stand firm in integrity, even in the face of criticism. Remember that growth always means embracing the humility to admit when we're wrong. Learning from our errors is not a setback, it's the very essence of our progress. So, welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening,